This week in the boathouse, progress is made on the hatches as Steve decides on the height and cuts the openings for the deadlights. And then we'll continue work on the main mast with the biggest glue-ups done on the project yet. Help us out by giving this video a like if you can. Make sure you're subscribed and check out the description below. There you'll find links to the website and store and to our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly supporter and help us hit our launch date in June of 2023.
Can I get your opinion? Okay, which line?
The third one. Oh wait, let me look at them.
So I think this is the height regardless, because that lets us get above the deadlights here.
Yep.
And be okay. So this is flat across. Mm-hmm. This is roughly matching the camber of the deck at this point. And then I just put 2 more points a little bit higher. Okay. I think this one, looking at it, is probably somewhat close to what the house is. I can actually measure it and figure it out, but I don't think it...
I mean, it looks pretty close.
I don't think it super matters.
Yeah.
I think it's between one of these two.
I think it's one of the top. Yeah, so I would say cut the higher one.
Okay.
Look at, like, put plywood on it or something.
See what it looks like. We can always flatten it off a little bit.
Just keep the outboard points consistent no matter what height ends up being.
Yeah, and I just gotta level these down the sides and then just measure whatever this height is and plop that and spring it on the back face. Like that's easy peasy. Somebody might look at it and be like, wow, that hatch is kind of tall, but I don't know.
You're like, yeah, I wanted headroom when I was in my cabin.
I just want to make sure it's not grotesque. I guess that's my thing. If it's like, it looks pretty good, we could bring it down a little bit, we could bring it up a little bit, but we're just kind of like playing with scotias.
Then splitting hairs.
The only thing is that's going to go higher than it is now.
Oh, that's right.
Because we got to put in the trim, and then it's got to have a lid on it. So actually, you know what we could do? If I stick a 2x4 underneath the hatch. The only thing I think KP and I were really hemming and hawing was this is a bit taller aft than it is forward, and like I said, it's the same relation as water line to the house. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we weren't sure. That was the only thing that we thought we could maybe do and make it maybe look better, but it didn't really seem like it was gonna make it grotesque one way or another.
No. I think it was really tall, and now it's like it seems proportional to me. And I've been then on boats it's like this is this way because of the same reason that you're
Yes,
saying,
yes,
like
so
in
the
the
headroom
foot,
down
so
below. and-
it's
yeah.
your little pocket of head space. Headroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Cutting through all the ring shank nails as I go. So I've got a pretty dull old blade in here that I don't mind smoking. And as you can see, it's smoking. And it's a little jagged, and that's totally fine because this is gonna get bedded, and we want a little bit of play between here and the wood. That all needs to get sealed, and bedding compound put in there as well. So we really do want these to just kind of drop in there.
How is it?
It's so bright,
Is it?
so bright.
Good.
Even with this top completely blacked out,
Yeah.
it's so bright.
Wow.
And then it's perfect. I mean, when I'm standing here, you'll be able to look just above the tow rails. I can look, even with the windlass on, I think you'll be able to look forward just fine. I think it's gonna be great. I don't know if you can hear me out there, but.
Not as well as I thought I'd be able to.
I think we'll be able to see things, which will be nice.
Yeah.
It's so great to like hear a noise or a bump or feel something weird in your bunk and just like sit up and look at the port lights like woodchuck. Oh, that's all good. All right.
Woodchuck.
Next, Steve made up the bronze bolts that will secure the cabin hatch. It's the same process used for the house sides. After a minute with the sponsor of this week's video, we'll pick up where we left off last week with the mainmast.
This battery is from Growatt, and we've been using this for a little bit in the boat, testing it out. This is a pretty nice size. It's light enough to carry around. It's got two handles, which make lugging it around real easy, and it has enough power that we can run the big Festool sander. It has a max output of 2,000 watts, which is great for things like sanders and vacuums. Can power big things. And if you hit a brief surge that's higher than 2,000 watts, it will be okay. It can do it for a second, and that's great with like the AC unit or a shop vac, something that has a large surge when it starts. The wireless charger can charge your phone on top without anything being plugged in. There's 12 outlets total, and they can all be used at the same time, including the 4 AC outlets. So you can have a lot of things plugged into this. And if one of these isn't enough, you can daisy chain up to 3 together for even more power and battery time. It's nice to have these and test them and play with them and see what they're capable of. Thank you, Growwatt.
So if you're interested in learning more about the Infinity 1500 model or any of Growwatt's other products, check out the link in the description below.
We're just going to go this way, and then we're going to step it toward the edge of the bench and hinge down again. Perfect. Perfect. Let's get this out of the way. I don't know where to put it. We're building this main mast still. We're looking at Atkins' original drawing. He calls out, how long the entire mast is, and then how far from the deck, center of the deck camber at the partners, to the berry, which would be where the heel of the mast finishes out. Steve has added a more robust mast step, I think, to alleviate having a socket in the top of the keel where water could pool and rot. So Steve stepped his mast step up on top of the floors, which has made the berry, which is the distance from the center of the deck line to the heel of the mast, about a foot less, which shouldn't affect anything structurally. Still plenty of wood below deck, but that affects the length of my mast. So if I was building it according to plan, which I am, the mast should be 41 foot 11 inches. So as you can guess, if I took a foot out of the bottom and left the mast the same length, it actually pushes the whole mast up. So the entire mast will be a foot taller than he drew it, but we're going to run the sail plan basically the same. So there'll just be an extra foot of head, which will actually bring his taper further up the mast. So we're going to glue this thing up in 4 lifts, thickness-wise. So while I'm assembling it, I can pre-build in a channel for my wires. Now, I've disassembled a few different masts that have rotted that had the wire not in a conduit. It's almost impossible to repair that kind of mast with it not in a conduit because, as you can imagine, you have to chip epoxied wire out of the mast. And if it's not able to pull, you have to not injure that wire. You have to be ready to splice it, which is a no-no. So we are going to use this flexible conduit that contractors use. They usually call it a Smurf tube. As you can see, it is Smurf colored. It's a little oversized for this because we want to make sure that we have plenty of room for any future things we might put up the mast. Things that we know that will be up there will be our wind transducer and our VHF antenna. And there's the mizzen mast. The mizzen mast will get satellite and weather and all sorts of nice stuff. And hopefully a steaming light of some kind, if you have room. Now, you wouldn't be able to run a deck light with the sail up because you wouldn't be able to see anything. But if you were at your dock or at a mooring or trying to pick up a mooring ball under motor, you could flip this deck light on and run around on your foredeck, and that would be nice to me. So Steve's thinking about doing that. I don't know if it's 100% in the plan, but it's an option. So we want to give him the option by giving him a little extra room for more wires. Who knows what else he might want to put up there. So on this schematic, I only see 2 things going up there, but we know that there's going to be at least 3, maybe 4. So we're going with a little bigger diameter conduit than we need, but it's still within the confines of our hollow mast. So this is just sort of a rough mock-up. It'll be a little nicer than this in the real world, but that's kind of how it's going to work. The conduit will hit basically a 45, and that'll allow us to pull any diameter wire that we need to get up and down it with ease. I tried it. I pushed gigantic wires that were much bigger than we're going to use up it. And if I can push them, then you can pull them with a fish tape. That's basically what's going to happen. We're probably going to fill with epoxy, or we're going to shape this with a core box bit to try to make this diameter work, because this diameter would actually be bigger than this diameter. It's corner to corner, which I drew here. If I did cut a square channel in there, this distance isn't our diameter. It's actually that distance, which if you look at it is, the 3, 4, 5 triangle thing. It is way bigger. So that would be outside of the bounds of what we can get away with this diameter mast in the first place. So this would be inadvisable. So I think we're going to try to use a core box bit to route our channel with a radius on the inside.
Keith, is that bit still in the router?
Yeah.
Just to have a look at
You
it.
just missed the cool rodeo.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could hear it, but
I missed the whole rodeo.
I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's down here. Well, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good. Besides, I think that's nice to take a run with something and like know it works.
Yeah.
Than to.
I've done this
I think,
lots of times. I knew it would work.
You knew.
That's why I spent $90 on this router bit yesterday. I was like, I know it'll work, and I know how fast it'll go.
It'll just be done.
Yeah, it'll be done. Yes, sir. Yeah, we want to wet this one and that one out because those are going to be our next ones. So yeah, and the scarf too. Like that. I like that, man.
It's a really big glue. And so all this motion, everyone moving pretty quickly, it was just all about the time that it takes epoxy to cure.
We're using medium hardener as well. For extra bonus fun.
Using a medium cure hardener, which means that, you know, there's a fast and a slow, and then you have a medium. The slow in a hot environment can help slow down the reaction.
You want this outside, stay wetted out the same way it is right now?
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think it's 20 minute to gel time, the medium.
Did you guys reroute this after to clean up the epoxy?
Exactly. It had so much glue squeeze out in it that we had to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it just kind of trues it up perfect because it's not necessarily perfectly in the center because our two.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah, and now
pieces that
you
were just
have
kind of
your-
ripping.
Sure.
So this like made it in the center.
Perfect. Nice.
Yeah.
You want some respect down at a gas station. Now's the time to go.
Yeah.
Show out, look like a working man.
Yeah. Roll in and... Oh my god, I've been the dirtiest person in the grocery store.
Yeah, I've been the dirtiest person in the grocery store many times.
I just did it the other day. I don't know what I was doing, but I had a whole bunch of sawdust in my pocket. I pulled out my wallet or something, and I was like, on the counter, and I was like, whoops. I don't know. It becomes a part of you after a while. Cool. I'll take a bunch to me.
This is exciting.
down here, please.
Okay.
All right, here's one to go.
Steve Reno's coming through with a fifth one, right? I think that's the next day.
Yep.
Sweet. Oh, does somebody want to grab a couple chip brushes? Chip brush? Two inch? We'll end up here good if we're gonna camp.
Yeah, okay. How are you doing down there?
Good.
This one? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Look out below, watch your fingers. How about there? Probably needs to come up, right?
One last look at straightness.
One of those things bend, but it's like, that's what we've been doing.
How you doing that, Steve? Like, what are you looking for? What would be fixed? How would you fix it? You're this way on the.
Straight this way, it's not bad. What we're playing with is this way. You'd be amazed at how much bend it still has. And when we make it into an 8x8, we're going to start to put that bend in if it's too big. So if it's off, you know, an eighth of a quarter or something like that over its whole length, no big deal. If it's off 3/4, more big deal. So, but the building is not super solid and everything moves, so we're chasing it. Are you gonna want more thick?
I don't know. I haven't done too far yet, so I don't know. How far did you go with the... I'm kind of doing this move and swapping half of it out, and I'm able to kind of... Like the jack left and right, and especially at the top one on the bird overhang.
I like that one. Is that a Craigslist find?
Tag sale or flea market find.
Oh,
I have two of them.
oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, I don't use them very often.
No, but they're really nicely made.
Yeah.
Commissioner Squeeze Out says, oh yeah.
That's the official definition of, wow, that was probably the most squeeze out we've had so far.
Yeah.
This thing was lots of things, and now it is one thing.
Now it is one giant thing.
It started as one giant thing.
Yeah, and then we
And
disassembled
then we made it many things, and then we glued them back together.
Shuffled it.
It'd be better if it was Sika.
Yeah, we should probably chop this up. Where's your chainsaw?
Really would have been better if it was 1,000-year-old Sika tree, but you know, great grandpa's spruce will have to do.
It'll have to do. And it provided shade, and it provided homes for birds, and now it provides horsepower.
That's nice hot air blowing out of that.
It's like the fan section at Kmart.
Next week, Keith puts his final touches on the mainmast, putting the taper into the top and rounding off the whole length. And we'll take a look at the other spars. Some will come more or less as they were from Victoria, and others will need to be put together. And we'll also see the work done on the standing rigging that's been going on outside while we've been focused on the mainmast.
This was fun.
Yeah?
This is the scale rule that Steve and I made with a lot of head scratching and confusion that allowed us to transfer the totally unscaled sail plan into a legible set of numbers.
I love a good do not throw out. It's one of my favorites.
Do not throw away. This is so important. This took us like 45
This is
minutes.
special.
Yeah. What's going on?